The tale of Ikenna and the river goddess. In a small village deep in the forest of the eastern part of Africa, there was a man named Ikenna. He was the strongest man in the entire village, even at the age of 36. His muscles were huge, his strength unmatched. People looked up to him and admired him, but what no one knew was that his strength would one day become his curse. The villagers believed in a powerful spirit who lived in the river. They called her the river goddess. She was known to be both beautiful and terrifying. The villagers believed that if they don't show her respect, she would take them away into the deep rivers where no one could ever find them. So every year they would offer sacrifices to the river, like goats, yam, and other precious gifts. In return, the river stayed clean, and there were plenty of fishes to catch. But Ikenna didn't believe in these old stories. There is no goddess in that river, he would say. He refused to join the sacrifices, saying it was all nonsense. One year, something strange happened. The river began to dry up, and the waters turned dirty. The fishes disappeared, and the village was in trouble. The elders said that the river goddess was angry. The villagers tried to please her by offering her more sacrifices, but it didn't work. The river stayed dry and the people began to starve. They believed that Ikenna was to blame. He made the goddess angry with his disbelief, they whispered. So they begged him to go to the river and make things right. Ikenna finally agreed, not because he believed in the goddess, but because he cared for the people. Ikenna took a white goat to the river bank as a sacrifice. As he stood there, a cold wind blew and the river started to swirl. Suddenly, the water split apart and out came the river goddess. She was as beautiful as they had said, with glowing green eyes and hair that flowed like waves. She was angry. Ikenna, she said in a voice that sounded like 100 whispers. You've ignored me for years. Now you come with a small goat? You think that is enough to make up for your disrespect? Ikenna was not afraid. You are just a story to scare children, he said boldly. I came here only to show everyone that you are not real. The goddess laughed, a cold, cruel sound. You are brave but also foolish, she said. I will give you one chance. Bring me something more precious than a goat. Bring me your strength, the thing you value most. If you do, I will make the river flow again. Ikenna laughed. How can I give you my strength? Without it, I am nothing. The goddess's eyes flashed with anger. Then you will see what it means to truly have something, she said. She waved her hand and the river's water shot out like snakes, wrapping around Ikenna's arm and leg. The villagers watched in horror as Ikenna, who was always so strong, couldn't break free. The water dragged him into the river and he disappeared. For 3 days, the river was wild, with waves crashing and swirling. The villagers cried and prayed, offering more sacrifices, but nothing happened. On the 4th day, the river finally became calm again and the water was clear. Fish filled the net and the village had fresh water once more. But Ikenna did not return. Weeks passed and people slowly started to forget about him. They believed the goddess had taken him as a warning to never doubt her powers. Life went back to normal, but everyone was still afraid of the river. They warned their children, respect the river or you will end up like Ikenna. But one dark moonless night, something strange happened. Ikenna returned from the river, but it was not the same. His strong body was weak and skinny. His eyes were empty and his hair had turned completely white. He walked through the village without saying a word. His mouth opening but only water flowed out instead of words. The villagers were terrified. One brave elder approached Ikenna and tried to help him. But as soon as the elder touched Ikenna, his skin began to melt away, turning into water. Ikenna's eyes were wide with sadness, but soon he disappeared into the puddle on the ground. The villagers realized the truth. The goddess had not killed Ikenna. Instead, she had taken his strength and turned him into a part of the river itself. He was now trapped in the waters forever. From that day on, Whenever the river became wild and rough, the villagers said it was Ikenna trying to escape, trying to come back to his old life, but he could never leave. The river goddess kept him there to feed her powers. Every year when the villagers went to the river to give their offerings, they whispered Ikenna's name, hoping the goddess would have mercy on him, but all they ever heard was the cold, cruel laugh of the river. And so the village learned never to doubt the river's powers, for it had claimed even the strongest man among them.